Star Trek Online, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Foundry Roundtable, our open-ended mission to bring you new content, to seek out great writing and superior map building, to boldly play what no one has played before. Captain's Log, Stardate 92852.03. Along with expendable red shirts, Markhawkman and Greendragoon, I, Drogan1701, have traveled forward in time to 2410, from which we have traveled back in time to 2409, to experience the Star Trek Online timeline in its original form. By which I mean we decided to live stream the Stowe Rebirth, which is what they called their little April Fool's joke, that they put the original build from launch 5 years ago onto Redshirt for April 1st and I think some of April 2nd. The joke essentially is that it was no joke. They really did this. Unfortunately, they only did it for a limited time, as we found out later. Now, we are actually re-recording this intro because, unfortunately, partway through, we lost... Dragoon can tell us better, but we lost the streaming app that you're using?
Basically, some kind of hiccup and caused the streamer to crash. And unfortunately, it took the first part of our recording with it. I kind of tried to salvage what I can, but unfortunately, we lost the first bit of it. But we kind of decided that it'd be cool to see what we did get, which is still most of it. So,
since as we're talking to you here on Friday evening, they have taken down the Stowe Rebirth shard and gotten rid of it off of Redshirt. So unfortunately, you can't play this anymore. Maybe they'll bring it back again someday, but we were told that it really was just a lot of black magic, you might say, to actually get this thing working. As you might expect with all of the behind-the-scenes updates that have happened over the last 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show it really is two completely different games.
It really is. So what we did is Mark and I were still patching. So we had Dragoon here play through the tutorial and the first mission. What we lost was the part of him making a character and playing through the first bit of the tutorial. So we'll pick it up when he is partway through the old USS Kittimer.
All right. Thanks, everyone, and enjoy.
Enjoy the rest of the show.
I think if you're like me...
It had a pretty low rate of fire, too.
I want to say around Crossfire, they actually
have a personal shield to protect you from harm.
Fed up some of the firing rates.
Personal shield's power quickly. Look for cover or
yeah, that did revamp a lot of ground combat systems for that.
Yeah, now that I think about it, when I first started playing the game, I had issues with figuring out ground combat because, well, certain of the ground combat mechanics were not as good as the current version.
During combat, you can use aim to do more damage.
Giant cathedral of engineering that we do have.
Press C again to stop aiming.
Not from this map in particular, but...
Yeah, we have it from the Ghost Ship mission.
And of course, modeled off the Enterprise E. Going back even further, I remember when they did open beta, and I think so many people joined the first day that it was just completely unplayable. I mean, not like a little bit of lag like we see now, occasionally, but I mean just completely unplayable. And I think for the first 2 or 3 days of it.
The first time I ever saw a zone chat complaint was because of people not waiting their turn, doing things as part of the group tutorial, and people getting frustrated that they were needed to do an objective, but other players kept doing it as soon as it popped up.
That's an old problem with open world MMOs.
And honestly, I think I saw that complaint the first time I ran the tutorial.
You notice nobody's in here with Greendragoon. That's
Your
probably
choice of bridge officer is very important.
I know mine's only
Research your bridge
26%.
officers carefully before you choose one.
And
You got to choose your own bridge officer, the first one, anyway.
Granted, the choices were few, and well, honestly, I never chose the engineer simply because I had the pre-order Borg engineer. So
yeah.
The engineer was kind of like an obvious wrong choice.
So I don't have any of the unlocks.
I think the one character I have that doesn't have Shalana, that's because of the fact that I went and chose the science officer on that character.
I don't know if any of my characters would still have these guys, because I, had them for 2 or 3 of them for 5 years, and have redone lots of their bridge officers over the years, and who knows if the original ones are still in there.
One thing I realized when they did that bridge officer training revamp is that the bridge officers you got from the old tutorial were actually treated in some way as unique bridge officers, because well, when they did that thing where they had all of the bridge officers have their skills reset, or shall I say restored, that they started with, the bridge officers that you got from the original tutorial did that too. So all of my characters that had Korspa in their roster somewhere, she got back all of her original starting skills, even though she's just a green Andorian.
The first time we go into space, which gave you a random configuration of the Miranda class.
And this is where you found out basically the entire command structure was killed while you were gone. Yep, enough of the crew remains just to run the things. And do you remember when people used to have actual facial expressions? How long has that been broken in the Foundry?
That's freaking out, man. It's like mesmerizing me with the huge eyes on that NPC.
Yeah, I do remember that we couldn't use any of the.
It's like you got the 1,000-yard stare.
He's freaked out.
Yeah. I suppose you would be too if you were being attacked by the
Start moving
Borg.
your ship by increasing the throttle. Increase your throttle by pressing E. Decrease by pressing Q.
Thank you, Zachary Quinto. I'm not sure I could have managed this without
Maneuver
your
your
help.
starship by using the W, A, S, and D keys.
Except you realize
Your
you're
camera
not
will
going
focus
towards
on
your
your target
objective.
in space. Select the USS Oakland by clicking on it. Press Escape to clear your target.
This version of Store has the Acura. We don't really need anything else.
You can also steer your ship by holding down both mouse buttons.
These store ships? Who needs those when you have a Miranda?
I was wondering if the C-Store was even...
I just checked. It's not up. It's just empty.
Yeah. I was trying to remember. Yeah, no, it looks like the C-Store was actually up. It must have been in open beta or something that they added it, because it wasn't. I remember a time when it wasn't there at all. Like they didn't have a cache shown.
It's pretty well buried at the moment. I mean, you have to go to the drop-down list, and there's nothing in it at the moment.
Yeah. Well, there wouldn't be. They don't want you to buy anything on this server.
Plus, I don't even
so
know
you hear
how well
that, everybody? It's not a cash grab.
Well, honestly, though, back then, these store ships were considerably less useful than they are now.
Yeah, they're just
because
skins.
I don't remember what they had.
Well, they had special powers, but all of them had integrated powers, which meant that when you got a higher tier of ship, you couldn't use that ability anymore.
Yeah, it didn't have consoles that you could transfer.
So, you know, my favorite toy, the Phaser Point Defense console, that was an integrated ability of the Thunderchild ship, and if you wanted to use the Phaser Point Defense ability, you had to fly the Thunderchild ship, which made the Phaser Point Defense thing nearly useless.
That was much later. The first ships they sold were literally just skins of the T5 ships.
Yeah, I think they had what? They had like the Imperial skin for the Sovereign.
Yeah, the Imperial skin. It's basically all the ones that you get when you buy fleet versions of ships now.
Yeah.
I actually bought a few of those just because it looks really cool.
Yeah, it's funny. I still got them as unlocks, so.
Like the Maelstrom. That one, is still one of my favorite books.
So I'm looking here, and let's see, we got playable Ferengi and Klingon were in at launch.
Okay.
They were added February 2nd, which I believe is launch.
Yeah.
Although back then the Ferengi were Z-Store unlocked, they weren't actually free race like they are now.
No, they're still paid, aren't they? I remember I bought one a long time ago and haven't paid attention.
You must be within 10 kilometers
Season
of your target
1,
to fire weapons. All starship weapons
they
have
added playable Tellarites
mouse
and
over the weapon
Pactons,
icon to see the arc.
and Cations and Rigelians.
Oh, good. The ships do have auto fire. I was a little worried that it didn't get
Your
added.
ship has both
later.
phasers and torpedoes.
No, it always had auto.
Phasers work best against enemy shields,
Maybe
while
they didn't
torpedoes
have
work
ground
best directly against
ground
the hull.
auto-fire.
Pressing the
Maybe.
spacebar will fire all available phasers. Pressing Control and spacebar will fire all available torpedoes.
Jim Miranda probably file this exactly the same as it would today.
More or less. In all fairness, I mean, I really think that they did get space combat really good out of the gate.
I don't know. I'm, you know me. I like lots of things, so I liked the game at launch.
Well, I honestly say that the most issue I had in the original tutorial was not understanding how to make the camera
Your
point
ship
at what
has
I
4
wanted it
shields:
to.
forward, back, left, and right.
Which, of
Keep
course,
your most powerful shield
made
facing
for
an
a
enemy
hilarious
and
scenario
protect
where I
damaged
was flying
shields so they can
around because
regenerate.
there was
You can direct
one
more
of those
energy to individual
triple
shields
rogue
by using the
things
arrow
chasing
keys
me.
or the shield monitor.
I mean, it's shooting me. It does like 1 damage each time it shoots me, so it's never going to actually do anything. But I can't seem to lock onto it because it's out of frame, and I hadn't figured out how to turn the camera to point
Bridge
the
officers
camera
man
at the thing
consoles
so
on
that
your
I
ship
could
and make it
actually
perform above its normal capacity. The consoles
the
on your
camera
bridge
controls
are
were similar
represented at
enough
the bottom
to
of your screen. You can activate a
World
bridge
of
officer's
Warcraft
abilities
and
by clicking on the icon
Guild Wars
in the
that I was
tray.
coming from, so I didn't
Some
have
bridge
too much trouble
officer
with that.
abilities modify
Yeah,
how
but I-
your
And
never
actually,
weapons work. After
the space
using one of
combat
these
kind of
abilities,
reminded
you will
me
need to
of
fire the weapon to get the full effect.
Starfleet Command, just with a third dimension.
I've always been kind of impressed
Very different camera controls.
with Cryptic, just because they literally had this ground-only engine, and they had to make a space combat out of it.
The Champs engine.
I'm
No
trying to
small
remember.
undertaking.
Did they add vehicles to Champions Online before or after they did the initial code branch to make Stowe?
Well after.
Yeah, because I think vehicles is a relatively recent thing, isn't it? Like 2 years, maybe?
I don't know. I didn't start playing Champions until relatively recently.
There we go, the original version of the Vega colony. Which is this map in the Foundry?
We've actually got the version of this map from the old Temporal Court.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. We
yes,
have a Foundry map labeled Vega, but it doesn't have the Borg junk on it. You could add the Borg junk, I suppose.
That needs me
Of course,
bigger weapons.
Vega, as we know it today, is quite different.
As a captain, you can carry 2 weapons at a time. To switch weapons at any time, press Z. If you switch to an empty weapons slot, you will use martial arts attacks.
You're still hearing Zachary Quinto in your head.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's something wrong with you.
Well, you guys don't hear him?
The funny thing is that back then, there was actually a player's skill option for
Make sure you equip your
using
kit.
unarmed
To equip
combat.
weapons and items, press U
And-
to access your inventory.
Well, I never really tried it all that much, but from what I've heard, it sucks.
I just love kind of looking around this map. Because you can see where the colonists are moving out, and then there's this mine over here. I don't know, does this serve a purpose in the Kinamura Accord? Or just something
I'm not
somebody put in?
entirely sure if I played that one.
I
Or
didn't
if
get
I
into
did, I only
STFs
played it
until
like
after
once.
they broke it up.
While I'm thinking about it, show everybody the skill tree if you can.
Yeah.
So you can skill up there. Very different than what we have today. You had to spec into different weapon types if you wanted to use that weapon type.
Oh,
And
trying to
spec
remember
into
thing
types
that
of ships.
the blog that Erroneous Rex did about this, that Mirror Trendy posted a link to, they actually have a screenshot of what the old skill tree looks like.
Yeah, you have a bunch of skills that improve specific ships. So
Yeah. I don't miss
the
that.
general one's down here.
It's so much
Yeah,
nicer
it-
because you don't have to
Science vessel,
switch up
research
your
science
spec.
vessel.
To, I don't think you could
The-
respec
the-
these.
The skills for specific energy types, that was I never liked that idea at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's anti-proton, tetrion, all those, which made anti-proton the most expensive to... Yeah, everyone liked phaser and disruptor because it was the cheapest to spec
Because they were the
into.
first ones in there. Yep.
Proton quantums.
Also, this was back when the only way you could get anti-proton was by fighting level 40 or higher mobs because they couldn't be obtained at any lower level.
Yeah, there's
And also
no...
before they put crafting into the game and made it so you could craft anti-proton. So anti-proton weapons were well, something you pretty much got from killing Borg in STF.
I want to say there was crafting in the game, but I think it was limited to Memory Alpha.
I thought that got added in like Season 1 or Season 2 or something.
Issue orders to your away team.
No, wait, no, never mind. I'm thinking of when they did the
hover
first
your cursor
crafting
over each button
revamp
to see what they do.
that
Stay with your away team.
made it so that there was
Heading
a
out on your
general
own can be
crafting
dangerous.
skill instead of 3 separate types of crafting. I seem to remember some people on the forum a long time ago complaining about the first crafting
You can sprint
revamp.
to increase your movement
And
speed.
then they had a second
Press shift to
crafting
start
revamp
sprinting.
where they added the
You
lithium
cannot
cost to
attack while
crafting.
sprinting, but you will take less
And then they had
damage.
the big crafting revamp a while ago where they did away with the entire old crafting system and made it completely.
You can roll to evade attacks.
I
Double
remember having
tap
to
one of
fight
the
over these
direction
people
keys to
with
roll.
other players.
Yeah, you had to find an open group that wasn't being shot at.
If you hit an enemy from the back
They've
or the
definitely
sides,
improved the
you will get a
animations because
flanking
when
bonus
you
added
run
to
with
your
that
damage.
rifle, it looks like
Try
you're sort of
attacking
hunched
from a
over.
different direction than your friends or away team. Some attacks put your enemy into a vulnerable state. These are called exposes. Use an exploit power to take advantage of an exposed enemy.
I still randomly roll when I don't need to.
Yeah, because I inadvertently double tap.
Mm-hmm. That sort of pyramidal Borg force field, which is an asset we have in the Foundry.
What's the name of your boss? I can't quite read it.
My buff?
Yeah.
The default Andorian female.
Oh, Thriss.
Well, no. What's the name?
Thriss or Thyrus or something like that.
Yeah.
Actually, my
Thriss?
Foundry character has that buff. She must have been through the old tutorial.
I didn't think Foundry characters could go through the tutorial.
I don't know, but she's got that buff.
You are not going to let me do that, are you? Weird, I seem to remember finding this hard when I first started playing.
Remember, like, this NPC here being a little bit hard. You have lots of shields.
Well, I remember practicing sniper rifle skills on this map after the first time I had to respawn because I got mobbed by 5 or 6 Borg.
Original Admiral Quinn!
He doesn't look all that different, does he?
Just the outfit.
Yeah, of course.
Actually, well, one thing I thought of is that the backgrounds in the contact windows were different because they all had the same static blue background. They didn't actually have proper backdrops.
Oh, they didn't add backdrops until way later.
Yeah, until Legacy of Romulus, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. But
I remember that being
different than it was
yeah,
back then.
It's one of the things I really like about it now, like especially because the view screen outline that you see changes depending on what your bridge is.
You can find
so,
more
like
information
on my Erosion
about your
bridge, I
immediate
see
area on your
guy
map.
through a view screen,
Press
and the
M
little
to bring up
spherical
your map.
control thing is down at the bottom.
Well, what
Engage
uniform
full
is
impulse to
Cyrus
travel
wearing?
faster.
Because that's actually
Full
one I
impulse
don't
drains
remember
energy
seeing
from all
before.
your systems to boost your speed. Be careful
Oh, this
flying
one
into a
wanted me.
combat situation.
Oh, what do they call them now? Sierra and something else?
What are we talking about?
You can adjust energy
the
allocation
old
to your
uniforms?
systems by using the power
Oh yeah,
level
Sierra
mode.
and Antares.
Try using the
Antares.
attack
That's the
preset
one.
to increase your damage.
Oh yeah, Antares. I never did actually use those. I've used several of the Sierra variants, but I look at the Antares and I'm like, no.
I remember at one point there was a bug where I think some of the enemies in this map were not spawning, and you couldn't finish it.
Yes, I remember many great troubles. Because a lot of those were.
You know, I don't remember like a crazy amount of bugs.
I think a lot of them kind of blend in from early beta and Head Start.
Yeah. The one I remember most of all is occasionally, the wrong character type would spawn. So if you beamed up to space and you were still your ground character, or you beamed down to the ground and you were your spaceship. Taco says that still happens, but I haven't seen it in years.
Well,
I would say I saw
for
it
my
once.
for my Foundry character, I occasionally have situations where she beams to a space map, and she has the punch and kick buttons in the hotbar for her ship.
And unlike the current tutorial, we say Vega.
Sort of.
In the current tutorial, we just leave it there. A Borg-occupied world right next to Earth. Wow. Massive wind at my house.
I used to love this tutorial. I mean, for someone new
It's not
coming in,
bad.
it was a very exciting tutorial. I mean, it definitely felt like
You were in a major battle. You were having an impact.
yeah.
It felt like you earned being given command of a ship.
Yeah.
Excellent work. Obviously, the exceptional advice and guidance I gave you during this ordeal was key to your success. When you reflect on this incident, I'm sure you'll look upon me as a mentor, or possibly even a father figure.
Old ESD.
I will return to my duties now. Remember,
I actually
all
like
you've
this
learned,
station.
and you will be ready.
I know
for
lots of
great
people
things.
don't, but I like it.
Good
I think
luck,
it's cool
Ensign.
looking.
It's a great station. It's a terrible ESD.
Trendy's in our chat room.
Hey,
Welcome,
Trendy.
Trendy. Or possibly Mirror Trendy. I'm not sure which version this is.
I think she's up
We
to
had
Undyne
We
Trendy.
had Undine Trendy earlier today, yes.
I don't see anyone else here.
Everybody else is still patching.
Yes.
Single else?
Back when you actually had a special pool for bridge officer skill points. I hated that.
It's bringing back so many memories.
Oh, yeah. The old signs. Go look and see what Club 47 looked like.
have to say, I liked the VIP room in the old club. That was cool.
This is the original Club 47.
The original Club 47, which is basically just has some bar assets, some tables, and some pink lighting. Oh, so that's where the chandelier, or the hanging crystal things we have in the Foundry come from.
Yep. Stuff like that was used on. And the lounge.
Oh, the lounge, yes. I remember this place. See Earth, you can see parts of the station. This didn't last long. And there's nothing to do up here, so.
Yeah, I mean, it was removed with the first revamp, which I think was about a year after. Whenever they got rid of the giant station and replaced it with a actual mushroom-looking ESD.
Yeah, because Q winked it out of existence. And
the giant hologram.
Yeah, and the Cardassian Taylor.
Cardassian Taylor's still there.
Is he?
Yeah, he's in the tailor shop.
He's in the new one.
He hasn't even changed. It's exactly the same guy.
Funny. Well, look at those old icons too. above their heads.
I'm sure Thomas has a conniption.
The doors that are labeled so that you can read the label from across the room.
I like these signs.
That is the one change of Thomas's that I never liked, was his ESD signs.
Yeah.
I love all of his other work except for that. No offense, Thomas.
Exchange. The bank? The original bank?
The original bank. We should point out that this map is actually still in the Foundry.
True.
So we can... And the original stateroom with the double staircase, and when it got revamped just to one, and then there was...
What's this?
That random architecture there.
Oh, this is, the fleet area.
Boff requisitions.
Go down into the shipyard. That was entertaining.
Oh, I'm almost there.
I have to say, I understand why they changed those staircases, because having people need to walk around the staircase to use the door was always awkward.
Well, you only came up here for actual ship requisitions. Everything else was taken down below. And the ship requisition room.
With the holograms there.
I haven't been here in years.
The last time I was here is because I loaded it up in the Foundry and was trying out the new water assets. And was essentially flooding this room. It's pretty funny.
I actually did that too. And Trendy says, I tried to forget what the game was like. Oh, by the way, this room is in the Foundry. But if you go down here in the Foundry, it has the, I guess you could say, mini versions of the Thunder Cougar Falcon Bird. Because when you go up to one of the ship holograms, you can cycle holograms, but the version in the Foundry displays all of the holograms simultaneously.
Yeah, having it baked into a map kind of strips out all of the functionality.
And I believe on in the Foundry version, this map is sort of like overlaid onto the main map, so you have to get your Y values right.
Overlaid, It is actually possible to get, if you have the spawn point set relative to terrain, if you move the spawn point to just the right spot on the map, it will actually drop you down into here normally. It's just there's only like one corner of the room that you can do that with, and if you want to be anywhere else in the room, you have to set a Y value and relative to 0.
Here's Admiral Quinn's goofy office.
Which is now Danae's.
Which is exactly
office.
exactly the same as the Starbase 39 office.
I found Sulu.
Didn't that
Why-
get started
why-
because Sulu was off somewhere in Gamma Orionis or something?
No, it started because
why did we have to find Sulu? I mean,
because one of the first missions. Okay, so here's what happened.
Hello.
You talked to Admiral Quinn. You finish up the. You accept all of your missions. Oh, I gotta pick a road. Let's go with phase relay. All right, so you pick up all the missions from Quinn, and one of them is New Orders, which is supposed to get you started on the patrol missions. So the first step is report to Akira Sulu. So you run out and go start looking for Akira Sulu, not realizing he's back here.
He's right next to the guy.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's basically behind a glass wall, and you're supposed to walk around behind the wall or something.
Hey, it's another person.
Hey, there's another person in there with you. Another liberated Borg.
And Trendy says, "Oh my God, it's the pointing fish lady." I guess she's
And of
talking
course-
about the science officer who's doing something to that fish tank.
Like she's hitting it or something.
Chat server's not working, so I can't ask where Sulu is. But yes, that is the origin of the "Where's Sulu" joke. It would just be
Wait,
flooding
so-
chat. Everyone asking where's Sulu.
So who is that standing on the desk? Is that another player?
Yeah.
There
Cool.
must
so
be
you're
some
not
other
the only
people who have
person doing
finished patching now. I'm at 36%.
I actually turned it off because I was
think it is
hoping
interfering a little bit with my
off
stream,
would
but-
make the Twitch stream load faster, and it keeps freezing anyways. I at least can see you running around some of the time now, though.
There's Ed.
He's an Undyne agent!
Or is he? Question is, when did he get replaced? We don't know.
Good point. And Trinity says they aren't sure yet how long they're going to leave this up.
I hope they at least leave it up for a week or two. I realize obviously they have to.
I just leave it up for forever. Why not?
Well, they need to get Red
I'm
Shirt
sure
back
it
eventually.
takes server resources, but
Well, yeah, they can't.
I don't think they can use Red Shirt while they have it up. So
no, of course
Yeah.
they can't.
Because right now they've got Season 10 on Tribble, so they need Red Shirt
Let's
for
just open a fourth server.
testing live builds.
Leave Red Shirt as the nostalgia server.
Alright, well, I think we got time for maybe one more mission if everyone's interested.
Yeah, let's go for it.
oh yeah, to talk to Egg and go to Alpha.
Actually, that was a really good point. Actually, I think talking to Malcolm Steele is not optional in this version of the game. So I should go back and talk to him.
Well, all Malcolm Sissel does is explain to you what ship injuries are, and then you're done.
There are no ship injuries in this version of the game.
Yeah, that was
Right.
added later, wasn't it? There was no death penalty, and there was no advanced or elite settings either.
Oh yeah, I joined after they added those features.
That was something that people asked for. was some kind of death penalty. It always amazes me how many people say Cryptic doesn't listen, and how many things are in this game because players asked for them.
Yeah.
Well, it's like that one person, I think it's called Bob the Skull, has in their signature, it's this picture with this person saying, when I say companies should listen to their players, what I really mean is that they should listen to me.
I always like they had that other station like way out there, canted to one side for some reason.
My friend sacrificed so much to
and original astrometrics.
Oh, sector space.
That you can not
turn
get
it
rid
off
of.
at this time? Yeah.
No.
That troubles me to this day.
And the funny
The hope was that this alliance
lines
would
going
last forever.
everywhere.
It did not. The Klingons have chosen war. The Federation is doing its utmost to protect its borders and the billions of
Yeah, I don't think
innocents
they're
who
going to
call
leave this
space
up very
home.
long, simply
But I
because
fear
of
that this
the
conflict
sheer
may
number
be
of
our
people
undoing.
that would be on it.
Oh, I'm sure not.
Ah, yes, the old astrometrics display. That honestly, it does look like a reasonable facsimile of the astrometrics lab that they showed as a hologram in certain episodes.
Yeah, I mean...
Well, and you know, one thing, it sort of reinforces the interpretation that I always had, is that when you're in space, in sector space or space combat, you're not flying from outside your ship, you're seeing some kind of tactical display that shows your ship. You're sitting on your bridge.
It's basically a hologram of space.
Yeah, it's not real space. Because that would be impossible.
The old system display, that was... I don't remember it looking like that.
There have been a lot of changes over the years.
Yeah, I mean, you would be surprised just how many changes were, like, in the first 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a mad dash to get the game launched.
I think that the disable astrometrics was pretty soon after launch.
I seem to remember that the astrometrics display overlay was originally some sort of a UI mod that somebody came up with, that eventually Cryptic made their own version of it.
So let's see, some of the things they added. So Season 1 was March 24, which was getting close to 2 months after launch. They added a skill respec. They added the STF, the Cure. Infected had been about a month before that. They added Federation versus Federation PvP.
Wait, so at
Klingon
launch,
players.
you didn't have the ability to respec at all?
You did not. So these things I'm naming are things that will not be in this build that you can play on Redshirt right now, like respecs. Ground Assault map Shantytown, which is my favorite map for PvP. Not many other people's, but my favorite. The Omega Leona star clusters were added in March of 2010. Drozana Station was added in March of 2010.
Drozana would have been added about the same time as the Davidian arc.
Oh yeah, that's right. They actually did add a new social zone when they did the Davidian FD series, didn't they?
Well, I think it was added a bit before the Davidian series.
Yeah, but I mean,
or
like maybe a week before.
I'm just reading the notes on StowWiki here.
Did they? Well, I guess you probably wouldn't remember whether or not the blue phase shift effect is something that was in the original version of that or not.
That was used to tease the Davidian featured episode.
So that was actually part of the original.
Yeah, it was a little bit before. And then it says, with the release of Skirmish, the station got a full revamp. And then with Legacy Ramos, it got revamped again.
Wait, what did it look like before they revamped it?
The original?
Yeah.
I'm not entirely certain.
Hmm. And Trendy says, many things have recently changed. And by recently, I mean over the course of 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of credit goes to the dev team for just how much they've worked to really make this game better.
Oh, yeah. So you're playing the original version of Stranded in Space. Which I think this particular section of the map hasn't changed a whole lot.
Tweaks here and there.
I remember when I had my first few characters, I actually did Stranded in Space multiple times, simply so that I could fill out my bridge crew. Because each time you did the mission, you got the choice of an engineer, a tactical officer, or a science officer. And obviously, I did not have a full crew at that time.
Yeah, I think I remember... Oh, you didn't, unless you replayed things, you didn't get a full bridge crew until 3 or 4 missions in, right?
Yeah.
Also, back then, bridge officers were only mission rewards or Z-Store purchases.
No, you can buy it for energy credits.
Well, okay, and that. But the ones you bought for energy credits, those were only white quality, weren't they?
Yeah.
I think at the time you only had white quality DOS. I don't think you had any other kind.
No, I think you got progressively better. Loot Critter. Original Loot Critter.
Oh, dear God. I don't know. I did not remember that icon.
Neither did I.
Floating thing.
Yeah, they revamped that sometime around like season 5 or 6, wasn't it? And
this was
about the same time that they added
times.
what people call the creepy candle flames effect.
Boy, back when I started playing this game, I didn't have a computer that could run it on full blast, so I wasn't playing with full graphics.
Hey, you should turn on the auto loot option.
The auto what? Oh, yeah. No scanning minigame.
That was Thomas's first contribution to the game, I believe.
Yeah, that was before you.
Didn't he make it just for fun and then send it to the devs and they thought we ought to hire this guy?
Well, the way it worked out
story goes.
is that he had 4 minigame designs that he posted on the forums. Krypton liked them so much that they basically hired him freelance to, or bought his designs from him. And then so he later got onto the Atari web team. And was a web developer for them for a while. And then before Cryptic split off and was purchased by Perfect World, he transferred to the STO team as a UI designer.
Now he's a ship designer. With the new ship
coming
coming
out,
out,
stay put.
possibly tomorrow.
I would think so.
I don't think we've gotten an actual confirmation on that.
I would not be surprised if it's tomorrow. Which the Galaxy people can finally be happy.
Yep.
Oh, I'm gonna fly it. one of my Delta recruits on you came up with this, Dragoon, is going to be a guy who got flung forward in time from mid TNG era, so Galaxy is perfect.
Yeah, I basically stole the plot to the Righteous from Star Trek Borg.
Well, the one I'm most interested
Trendy
in...
says confirmed. Those new T6 ships are coming in tomorrow.
Hey, you found the Bajoran MOBA fruit.
Man, when are they going to add poker?
Old crafting material.
Hey, I remember using those purple plasma tubes in one of my missions.
Yes, the original source of the plasma tubes.
Yeah, and the warp core that we have.
Actually, no.
Foundry.
Those are different than the ones you can use in the that you can place as assets, because those have a purple lighting effect associated with them that the ones that you place as assets don't.
Sure they do. They just don't work. The lighting part just doesn't work.
No, what I mean is that the ones that are baked into this map, it's like they have a purple spotlight being shined on them, and when you take the a placeable version and just put it next to it, it doesn't have that effect.
That's because our place lights don't seem to work in interiors. A lot of the assets we have. Yeah, I found out a lot of the items we have do have lights attached to them. It's just that for some reason or other, they don't work in interior maps.
No. I'm not talking about light sources. I'm talking about the actual prop. If you were to take
you're talking about this purple glow that comes off from
warp core prop and put it next to the one that's baked into the map. The one that's baked into the map looks like it has a purple spotlight shining on it, and the one you place won't.
We are talking about the same thing, Mark. It doesn't work for our detail assets. It does have it, it just doesn't work.
Hey, well, whatever. It's just something I noticed. It's kind of weird and looks funky.
Alright, so now that we got the radiation level down, we can save all the crew.
Also,
why there's no
said
accolades?
Something about how she's not allowed to.
She can't reveal things like C-store pricing. That sort of
yeah.
I imagine it's going to be 300 unless they
like,
do a
it's
pack.
like a normal
50,000.
T6 ship. I don't see any reason.
Yeah, 6,000 for 3 packs, 2,000 each or something.
I don't think. Well, I don't know. I suppose it could be a 3-pack.
And
I guess we'll find out tomorrow.
I'm not sure why Trinity are, but
I could see them doing like a pack with the P5 version and then the Tier 4 version.
Yeah, especially for the Galaxy, because there's a 3-console set.
Yeah.
With the 2 that were already in there for the Galaxy and the Galaxy X.
My downside is it sounds like they don't have a bridge pack this time for an interior.
It looks like back at launch, the Chronoton mines were not ridiculously powerful like they became later. And
part of the reason why they became powerful is because in the current version, you can actually have all 5 of them blow up on the same guy. So you're not actually being hit by a mine. A lot of the time it's because you're getting hit by 5 mines all at once.
All of them.
why everybody wants to play tactical. Engineers are fun.
You know, I never played engineer for a long time. My first one was a science, and I stuck with her for quite a long time.
Science is also fun.
I was not always the alt crazy person that I am now.
I want T6 Chimera.
Somebody made
object to that.
a Master Systems display for the Exeter, which of course is the one of the 2409 updates of the Constitution class. And I looked at that, I was like, oh man, that makes me want to do something crazy, like fly a Constitution like forever.
I'm not saying it couldn't be done. It'd just be quite the
update
challenge.
the gear and just keep the ship. But I already have things I'm doing for my new alts.
No accolade, but I feel good about myself now.
Well, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah. This is one of those odd. Wait, did they have that at launch? The thing where you had the class-specific objectives, where in order to get the full accolades for this,
no.
You had
that was definitely not in at launch.
Hmm.
Yeah, they had no class-specific stuff.
Yeah, they had no class-specific stuff for quite a long time.
And there was no accolade.
So that's something they added in a later revision.
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
yeah,
didn't they add that about the same time they launched the Romulan FE series?
I don't know exactly when it was, but it was the same time they revamped it with.
This was one of the first existing missions that they revamped. Maybe I can find that.
When you have that stupid mission where you have to drag Slamek across the desert, there are several class-specific missions or sub-objectives in that, and I don't remember if those were part of the original version of the Romulan FE series or not.
Okay, Stranded in Space was remastered in February of 2011, which would have been the first anniversary.
And now we have people arguing in chat about how ugly the Chimera is.
I love the Chimera. I'll start banning people.
I just posted that sometimes I like ships because they're ugly.
Yeah, the more popular a ship is, the less I tend to like it.
Like unconventional choices.
It always kind of bugged me when everybody runs with the same build.
I've always been one of those people who found it amusing to fly ships that are designed to make your enemies cringe in fear just from seeing you.
That's why I like the Tal Shiar adapted ships. They're menacing, not beautiful in any way.
I can't afford those things.
The big donut asteroid.
Those are pretty.
Nope.
It's
and
amazing how
useful.
has used that prop for over the years.
Alright, anything people want to see before we wrap it up?
Well, what did the
look
space
at that
particle-
map.
like. Because if I remember right, there's 2 crafting mat nodes in this map.
Yeah, we saw the crafting. There were you just interacted with it and picked up the things. You didn't play the minigame or anything.
Well, let me head over to Memory Alpha. There's something that's not.
Yeah, head up to Memory Alpha.
I'm going to have to watch this later because I keep having to refresh the Twitch stream to get it to display the video.
Yeah, it happens to me too, I'm afraid. Probably doubly so tonight because I've got this client downloading.
Well, it's still thunderstorming here, so that probably doesn't help my connection speed.
The Romulans were once a passionate, vibrant species, but the loss of their homeworld has left them in ashes. The survivors of the cataclysm have gathered
Very
under
interesting
the
map.
banner of Empress Sela. She has sought out new allies from the Delta Quadrant in an attempt to rebuild the Romulans.
Of course,
former
very
life.
soon, the whole
Now,
sector block thing is going
she
away.
seeks revenge for a lost world.
That's something
and
that
broken
was
people.
around since launch, sort of a fundamental way the game was laid out.
But it's also one of those things that the devs have been talking about changing, maybe, possibly, eventually.
Oh yeah, for years. Oh, you know what you're going to see, Dragoon, as you go around there? Is the deep space enemy contacts that chase you.
I just realized I didn't even think about
I love
those.
those. Those made it all sorts of dramatic. Because you were like, can I get to the end of the sector block? Can I make it? They're after me. I think, doesn't the crystalline entity float around and chase you? If it
Yeah,
wasn't an aerial.
Yes, it did.
In the original version of the crystalline entity, too, before they changed it to look like the one from TNG.
He's heading for me. Memory Alpha, Memory Alpha.
In the original version, it was nearly impossible to kill the stupid crystal thing because, well, mostly because people didn't know what to do, and half the people that tried to help didn't actually know what they were talking about. I never managed to complete the original version.
Oh, nope, you didn't make it. You're in the DSE.
And these guys are
DSE
levels
used to
above
be
me.
a decent source of leveling, too.
What was annoying
If
about
I'm in trouble. I am in trouble.
It had this irritating
I'm in serious trouble.
Alpha.
I'm gonna die.
That's what
these
just
guys are
happened.
15 levels above me.
Yeah, these are like level 25 enemies or something.
Yeah, it's not like they scale, and you didn't scale to their level.
Yes, these have never scaled.
Hey.
Even now, if
The
you
missions
go as a
scaled.
60 player into a deep space encounter in Sirius or Alpha Centauri, it'll be like shooting fish in a barrel.
Fun little fun fact that a damaged ship sitting there is designed from Perpetual's stow. I think the devs put it in there as a inside joke.
A little bit, yeah.
Inside joke, or as say, I guess you could say, subtle insult.
I take.
Like this is your version of Stowe, a burned out Hulk.
That's about all they had of Stowe before they died.
They had some concept art. They had.
Note how the perpetual ship never seen in working order anywhere in the game.
I think they've taken some inspiration from some of that perpetual artwork over the years, but not a lot.
Honestly, I always found a lot of their designs kind of fungly.
Hey, wait, didn't you get another buff from the Azura mission completion?
Did you actually turn that in?
I never actually turned it in.
I'm going to guess you. Because I was just looking at the screen and noticed you still only had one buff, the Andorian tactical officer.
I remember you had to run to different locations to do different... Crafting was really weird in the beginning.
Drill female command officer.
I don't remember how this works.
There's 3 Ferengis. You have to talk to all 3 Ferengis several times as part of 3 or 4 different mini missions.
Nope, that's not in here
and
yet.
this Vulcan science officer you have to talk to once for a specific mission.
Now, wasn't that
those...
the diplomatic missions?
Yeah,
which were not added, which were not in at launch. There was no diplomacy system.
What Oh yeah, that's right. This is the original version of crafting where you had to buy base items, which were basically like white level 1 or 5 or 9 or something, and then you did what were essentially upgrade, make them into things that weren't common gear.
You can't even get to the specialized crafting without leveling up Commander Romaine in the general.
That's one thing, Taco, if you ever listen to this, that big star hologram or whatever that's above Memory Alpha, could you please add that? It would be very useful.
Yeah, she basically took the stock versions of things, enhanced it into...
And improved them.
Did you go above Uncommon?
Don't remember.
There's a blast from that large power cell icon.
It's funny, a lot of these icons haven't changed. Except for maybe that large power cell.
Large power cells look like one of those
they've changed
hard
all
drives.
kinds of... They've changed all kinds of icons over the years, but not those.
Okay, so...
Good old Memory Alpha.
And that E-mount used to be really fast.
Did they change the way it looks inside? Because, or maybe it's just your graphic settings being different than mine, but I seem to remember it looking more blindingly white than I see when I look at your screen.
It got tweaked at least once.
Probably when they added the diplomacy stuff.
Or revamped crafting the first time.
Yeah. That's undergone several changes.
Anyone remember how transwarp works?
Do you have any?
Shouldn't I have Earth Space Dock?
If I remember right,
I bet you I can't warp from sector space or transwarp from sector space.
If I remember right, the old transwarp function, you had to open the map or mini map for that, didn't you? I remember that by default, when you're on a space map, the transwarp function is bound to a letter T. Of course, I know this because I always reset the T button to open the dock window, but that was later.
Oh, it was a skill. That's right. Transwarp to Starbase.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I think they had a separate one for each.
Yeah.
So in this version, there would have been no way for you to go to Kronos. There was no diplomatic
not as a Fed player
or
now.
anything. Yeah.
Eventually, they introduce diplomacy, and then you have to go through those annoyingly slow, progressing diplomacy missions to get anywhere. And then eventually, that becomes the DOF system.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. No Starfleet Academy.
And we still have that mission at Vulcan that gives you 100 diplomacy XP. which, you know, you kind of sort of, what's the word for it? It's such a tiny amount of diplomacy XP that it's not any practical value.
Well, the scale is different back
compared
when
to how much you need. Now, I've asked this before and I do not remember the answer, but do we have this space map in the Foundry?
Yes.
With old ESD?
Well, I want to say yes.
Because as I said earlier, I do like that station.
Yes. ESD 1.0 is in the Foundry, both the exterior and the interior.
Nice. Should find an excuse to use it.
Okay, here's a question.
If I can block Earth with something, it could be some kind of other station.
Is the Enigma Membia in launch? Wasn't it at a launch?
The captain's table?
Captain's table.
I don't believe... Well, maybe
no.
It was.
It was added in one of the season updates.
Let's look that up.
You're talking on Trimble, and I kind of could see if you reskin this, you could make it a pretty cool Iconian base.
Actually,
it could look alien.
You like what I did with those asteroid props in my Ocampa mission, where you take several objects and carefully overlap them so that they look like they're supposed to be attached that way. And take like several other space assets and just kind of like tack both them onto the ESD. I have to say though, it was really fun flying through that docking ring that they have on this version of ESD. One of the few things I miss about it is that you could fly between the donut ring and the main station.
I followed Impulse no less.
And this was the map where you could fly up to the moon, wasn't
it? Yes, I mean you could do that in a number of versions.
Because you can't do it now because he's made it into part of the backdrop.
Object.
Yeah.
Well, it's like what I said with the Jupiter and Mars maps that we have in the Foundry is that you can see the moons, but they're outside the navigable area.
I remember there being a big rage about people complaining this space doesn't look anything like
the space that you see if you actually go into Earth orbit.
Yeah.
It
doesn't.
The Blue Nebula effect.
Yeah.
Well, who's to say what it's going to look like in 2410?
Well, I suppose that's true.
I think the argument was also made that
this was back before they added the transwarp cooldown of powers. And you actually had to wait 30 minutes for it to cool down.
Yeah, well, I mean, your only transwarp was back to ESD. There were no others.
Pax says, this ESD looks like regular ESD had a baby with DS9, and then Lord Ice says, ES9? I like that. Well, we're going to call it ES9 from now on.
And the moon. The absurdly small moon.
Absurdly small, but with cities, which is quite cool.
I always wondered if those little round
so you couldn't tell just how absurdly small it was.
Hangers. Because this is the version of the moon that Riker was talking about, where you have cities and stuff on it.
Yeah.
Because they've talked about that in First Contact, is that Riker's talking about what the moon looks like in the late 23rd century. But it does appear to be outside the flyable area, although you can get pretty close.
It does appear to be. Little standard bridge, which are still around. You can have those if you want.
Yes, but the funny thing is that
I don't believe we had any ship interiors other than bridges, though, at this time.
no, we didn't. We didn't get those until season 1. You just left the bridge if you.
Of course, it wasn't until what, like season 6, that people actually had a reason to use their ship interior for something.
I'm not sure.
No chair sitting
I
tech.
remember when they added
no chair sitting.
That was the first thing I can think of that you had a reason to interact with in your ship interior, other than Oh wait, you know what? I think that there was at one point in time a mail console in your ready room that you could actually mail objects with. It was, I think it was that reason to use your ship interior, and pretty much it.
Just to give you an idea, we don't even have a ready room. Just the bridge.
Not on this one, anyway.
And Velocitore says the moon looks Borg. I don't know. If it was,
you could say in a sense that we
wouldn't they have more
assimilated the moon.
straight lines and not a bunch of concentric circles?
That's just their stock civilization texture.
Actually, yeah, they stick that on a bunch of planets, including the Vendor homeworld.
Well, I think that's about all we can show.
That's all we can show. Obviously, it is up for everyone on Red Shirt. We don't know for how long, but you can give it a download. If you need the workaround, I posted it in the chat a little bit earlier, but it's on Reddit, and I assume probably on the official forums as well. But yeah, this is kind of a fun walk down memory lane. Obviously, for us, it's pre-Foundry, but a lot of the assets that we have, in fact, the vast majority of assets and maps we have come from launch, this era of the game. Because that's what they had to work with when they were building the Foundry. You're going to go to one of the exploration clusters, aren't you?
No, I was actually going to go to Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine. Why?
Because it's something where the changes.
They revamped that at one point.
They've done changes to it several times. I'm kind of curious just how much it's changed.
You're right. I do seem to remember that.
Oh yeah, if I remember right, didn't this predate the exploration clusters too?
No, they had.
No, that was something that was in there. You can see Delta Volantis there off to the left.
Wait,
right.
So the current Red Shirt build, you could go and look at the old exploration cluster stuff.
You could go find the Third Borg Dynasty if you wished.
Well, I think
why people are so nostalgic for those, I do not know.
Well, actually, part of the reason why I wanted to do that was because I had, on a previous occasion, attempted to find one of those ground maps in the exploration cluster that had there was the full ground map with a coral theme and not an island with a coral theme. I may have mentioned this in a previous show, but to my knowledge, none of the actual exterior maps that we have in the Foundry has a coral theme, so you would have to add a whole bunch of props to make something look that way.
Dragoon, I have a sinking suspicion that you may not be able to make it to Deep Space Nine because you're going to be chased by Dominion ships.
True way, not Dominion.
True way, you're right.
I'll make it or die trying.
Actually, wait a second. Aren't some of those Terran Empire incursions?
You might be right about that.
After the devastation of the Dominion,
the
Cardassians chose a path that would lead their planet to
And
prosperity
Cthulhu
and
says,
demise.
fly around exploration
Not everyone
cluster,
agreed
try to
with this
grab
choice.
stuff before someone else.
A secret organization dedicated to the return of the Cardassian Union.
Yeah, I remember.
And the
Yeah, I
Obsidian
remember
Order.
that.
Plagues, Federation,
This trip down memory lane has been incredibly good at
seeking
making
to
me
overturn
realize just how
newfound
awesome
freedoms
our current
in favor
version of the game is.
oppression and aggression. In the
There
end,
are a
the
few
fight
minor
to save
aspects
Deep
that I
Space Nine
somewhat
may be the
miss.
battle that decides
There
the
are,
fate
however,
of the
many
world.
of them that I do not miss. Like,
Yes.
how expensive was it back then to get a purple quality bridge officer?
I think there were mission
Well,
rewards.
there are a lot
that you-
fewer of them.
Because if I remember right, most of the purple quality bridge officers that you got were a promotion.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember any of the story missions awarding purple bridge officers.
Enemy signal contact.
Can't fly her apart. This is fast as she
Dead
goes.
ahead.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're not level 50 yet. You don't have a quantum slipstream drive.
I don't think there was such a thing as quantum slipstream drive, even for max level.
I thought there was, but you gotta remember max level was only 40 back then.
Hey, look,
I
you
don't
found the Terran Empire.
Yep, they got you.
Yeah, that signal contact is a, Terran ship. Hey, wait a
Well, he's
second,
about to
isn't this
find
the
out
original?
up close and personal.
Isn't this the original version where they're spray painted yellow or something?
Purple.
Purple?
Think so.
Oh yeah, it was purple.
Uh,
You're just gonna have to die and respawn.
yeah, that's right. When the
Oh, yeah, that's
NPCs
right.
would spawn
it-
camp you.
In Season 0, you couldn't get to level 50 at all. That's right.
Yeah, launched
Got that
with
part.
what, 40? 45?
Yeah, that's the same level cap that Champions Online had.
It was a weird thing because it was like 40 and then up to 45 and then up to 51 and then back down to 50.
Yeah.
Because I think you used to get a new grade at like 11, 21 instead of 10 and 20.
Haha, the Terrans got you, and now you're going to die.
I escaped. I spend my Spico points.
I actually kind of think they ought to bring back the aggressive enemy contacts. I think that was a fun aspect of the game.
Well, that's what I wanted them to do if you like try to go into Klingon space before the end of the war. They chase you down.
Before surface tension. I think that'd be a great idea.
Well, the new versions of enemy signal contacts for Season 10 are going to be a very interesting twist to it. I have done the Alachi one.
I'll tell you one consequence that it has, these aggressive signal contacts, is it kind of discourages you from straying outside areas that you're not high enough level for.
Yeah, that's a very good point because, it used to be that a level 1 person could, well, you couldn't get to Betran, but you could get to several of the higher level nebulas and then fly around scanning for crafting materials and never need to worry about getting attacked because, none of the enemies could attack you at random.
I think most people though just found it annoying and kept just warping out.
Oh, I'm sure they probably.
It was annoying, especially when it was the crystalline
I think it's fun.
entity, and the crystalline entity decided to spawn Camp Memory Alpha.
Original Deep Space Nine.
Different background.
Yeah.
Oh
Station model
yes,
hasn't really changed.
I actually never got to. Didn't they replace that loading screen in season 4 or something? Because I don't remember seeing that loading screen very much.
The one that's
where
just
it's like
the Star Trek
Starfleet logo and nothing else.
Yeah, they replaced that a while back. I can't remember when.
There you go, folks.
Wait.
Original Deep Space Nine.
Did you just warp in next to a giant asteroid?
You're watching the live stream, so you're behind.
Yeah.
Ooh, original Gorn.
There we go.
Actually,
Original Gorn.
Probably. Oh wait, you would have to get a Federation character to level 8 on the Red Shirt server in order to be able to make a Gorn. Because this is back when you had to get to level 8 as a Fed character before you could make a KDF character.
Lore is definitely different.
I actually still have some of the original Gorn on one of my KDF characters. As long as I don't change the skins, they remain as the original Gorn.
Obviously, no Omega Force.
I
version.
I have a Gorn bridge officer that I picked up way back in season 3, who, for whatever reason, maybe it's because I didn't customize him, but he doesn't look like a TOS Gorn.
Yeah, that all looks the same. I think the big thing is the floor.
I think they changed some of Quark's, didn't they? Maybe not.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
Dabo,
possibly.
for one.
There's some more, yeah. Could you play Dabo at this time?
Nope.
No. The GPL didn't exist back then.
That's right.
Actually, GPL has never had a practical value in the game until they added the GPL costume unlocks.
Yeah, Deep Space Nine is one of those funny things because most of the changes they made were all subtle.
I think they added a lot more like wandering NPCs because it seems pretty empty. Then again, there's also no players wandering around.
Well, the current version of Deep Space Nine has patrolling enemies that disappear at the end of their patrol and reappear at wherever they started from, because they're like, they do this thing where they appear next to a door, walk around the station for a while, and then disappear at a different door.
Oh yeah,
you know what might be on this version of the server is the DS9 fleet action.
Oh yeah.
What's that?
You guys patched up yet?
46%.
I tell you what, if they keep them up for a few days, maybe this.
We organize some people and see if we can try.
Maybe this weekend we'll do it.
I don't even remember how you get to
I will attempt to patch overnight because
the problem is that
we might not be able to get people
like
high enough level to do it.
Yeah.
I got up 5% in 30 minutes, so yeah, it's going to take a while.
I'm Ensign 2 at the moment. There's no way we're gonna get.
I'll see if I can.
No
DS9
captain's office. Man, I've forgotten how much this place has changed. Yeah, this place kind of used to look cruddy.
Wait, did the Deep Space Nine fleet action even exist in Season 0?
Well, that's kind of what I'm wondering, because I don't remember correctly.
Because I remember where there was this weird thing where you would occasionally have Borg attack Deep Space Nine, and a lot of the time the invasion would simply get obliterated by the players who happened to be parked in orbit of the station, and eventually it was just this weird random event where enemy ships would warp into Deep Space Nine, get obliterated by people spamming their space bar, and then that would be the end of it.
That wouldn't change too much.
Because, there would be something like 20 people next to the station. All of them would open fire as soon as the ships appeared, and boom. I mean, you'd need like a super dreadnought level enemy mob to live more than 30 seconds.
Tell you one thing you're not going to find here is the contact to turn in contraband, because there was no contraband and there was no dilithium.
Well,
we did have
there was all kinds of
commodities.
crazy currencies.
Yeah, all that stuff got added around the free-to-play revamp. Because I remember the original version of Doffing, if I didn't actually have dilithium, did it?
I can't remember which came first.
I want to say that
The first
Doffing was
Doffing got
coincided
added
with
before
free-to-play
the
launch.
free-to-play thing.
What I remember is that when they added dilithium and changed everybody's other currencies of the marks and stuff over to that, I ended up with a fair amount, and that's I maxed out on Foundry slots using that.
All right, so we are sufficiently nostalgia out.
I believe so. We'll pick up again next week when we're all deep into our leveling process of our Delta recruits and other things.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's take it back to the present for our contact info. We can be reached at Foundry Roundtable at live.com. We can be reached on Twitter at Foundry Roundtab. Drogan can be reached at Drogan1701. Mark can be reached at Markhawkman, and I can be reached at Greendragoon.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Hopefully more of you guys can get in game and experience the nostalgia for yourselves, if you so choose.
And then realize why going back is not a good idea.
Not in any serious way. For fun. It's fun. But for now, we will say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night.